Hey guys, this is Eric Weingartner with Weingartner Racing. This is a really quick video. The noise in the background is a mill running. It's got to make me money. YouTube don't make me money. What this head is this is one of my special ones. This is something different I tried. This is my Brodix Dragon Slayer, but I had Brodix modify some stuff for me, and then I went ahead and head ported it. So let me explain what I had modified. Usually the Dragon Slayer is a standard valve spacing. Not anymore. I changed this one to 40-60. So in other words, this intake valve was moved 40 thousandths over this way, and the exhaust valve was moved 60 thousandths over that way. And you might say, why would you do that? Well, because you can run a bigger intake valve now. So you can run up to a 215 by 1600 exhaust valve. That's not what these were. These are a 2125 and a 1575. And the reason why is because I actually ordered them standard, but they messed up this one with a different one, and I got the 40-60 spacing, which is not a big deal, but I already had these valves. And I'm kind of curious, and this is part of me experimenting, to see if the smaller valve actually makes the same power. Because if you look at the flow numbers, they're identical, 1.6 versus 1.575. They're identical, except for at 1 and 200 lift, which is actually where reversion happens. So I'm not too heartbroken on that. The intake valve was a 2125. Now here's what kind of sucked. When I ordered these, I had 5/16 stems put in. So that's what 5/16 guides. And the reason why is because I wanted to use a 5/16 valve. Here's the downside. I was getting all my valves from Ferrea, and Ferrea has 5/16 valves, or had, and their stem actually measures 3.10, so a 310. So these guides from Brodix were sized for a 310. Well, you can't get any 5/16 stems valves from Ferrea custom or whatnot, period. So then you can go to Rev. Rev has 5/16, but their 5/16 aren't the same diameter of stem. So you think, well, 5/16 from one manufacturer be 5/16 for another. No. Theirs is 0.311, so 1,000ths bigger. So I was like, crap. The other thing is they also, I just didn't want to bother, so I thought one more option, I can get the valve really quick, and that's to go to an 8mm. You're like, what's the difference? Well, an 8mm is 0.313. So they went from a 0.310 to 0.313, 3,000ths bigger on the guide. So I had to remount the guide, and I ordered this valve because these were in stock. This is the AFR intake valve that you would get with your AFR 245 or 235 to 125 head diameter. All I had to do was reface it and put my 50-degree valve job on it, because that's what this has. It already has a nice back cut that's on it, so there's enough material for that. So I switched to that just because the ease of getting it. So initially it was going to be no problem getting Ferreas, and for the longest time it wasn't a problem, and then it became a problem. So that's where this kind of sticks. So there's that. There's a little bit of information about the valves. But I want to show you this because I hadn't done this before. And I should also point this out. I had the push rod slots machined further over. So the standard one doesn't require shaft rockers. This one does require shaft rockers, because where the, as you can see, if you have the standard Dragon Slayer, that whole slot here would be machined. It's not. I had to move it out so that this way I'd move out the pinch. And you can tell how much bigger it is. It's huge. And that's the thing I was going to show you, was this. It now has a little vein on the inside. I added that, which, by the way, that's very tricky to do by hand. If you add modeling clay afterwards, in other words, you poured it and you add modeling clay, make your own vein much easier than try to grind it in there. That's very tricky and it's tough to do. But it turns out well. I've never done a vein with the 248 with this X pattern or the 40-60 spacing. I was more curious to see what it'd be. The customer's all for whatever, so this is what I did. Now I can't reel all the flow numbers. I'll just tell you what they are, just because a customer doesn't want those totally revealed, but I'll go ahead and give you. This is probably one of the highest flowing heads I've had at 400 valve lift. So on the signs bench it went 265, and on the Superflow 270 at 4. It does almost 330 at 600 valve lift. It's pretty good. It's nice. It's well over 340 plus CFM at peak. It is an amazing head for what it is. So especially for the valve size. because you might say, why didn't you just do 215? Again, can't get the valve. I could from Rev, I could do the 0.311, but this was available right now, easy to get. The 215 would be a special order deal. So longer story, but I wanted to show you guys that. Really nice head. Push rod slots moved over, valve spacings moved over, but it's a beast, especially in the lower lifts. There's no standard port 23-degree head that either I've done or I've had on my bench that moves more air than this at 400 valve lift, period, so far. Not to say something else eventually won't beat it. And none of them have beat it with a 2.1 or even close to it with a 2.125. So it's just good. The trick flows were close. They actually had 208. So I guess they could say a little bit better there, but they weren't the same. They still didn't flow as good as this did at 400 valve lift. It's pretty incredible. So especially, I guess, moving the valve over and freeing up that space there, yeah, it makes a difference. Anyway, a little bit longer video for you than I intended, but wanted to show you this right before I get ready to install it, because I'm getting ready to put some lube in there, put the valve in, and get this thing out the door. Anyway, you guys remember, I'm no Mr. Man. You guys take care.